So, really warm welcome to this intro to snake medicine and to embodying the snake. It's really lovely to see you. I'm just going to let you know the lay of the land. In a moment, my first invitation is just to drop into our bodies, taking a few breaths together.
Mm.
And then I will share a bit about my journey with snake medicine and what's that all about, and give a little presentation, and then show a slideshow about the history of the snakes and snake medicine. And that's an invitation to, yeah, really go inward and receive that. And then you'll have a bit of time for some free writing. So if you have a journal with you, that's great. And then I will share about the 8-week program. And then there's space for Q&A. So that's the lay of the land. So just to start with, I love starting like that. Also for me, for everyone, it's just a little moment to take a few breaths together. If you have something to lean back on, that's great. If not, that's okay too. I'm just realizing I need another cushion. So yeah, just settle. If you want to have a soft gaze or close your eyes, you can do that. And then if you like, put your hands somewhere on your body that feels comfortable or comforting. It's a way just to make connection with yourself. And if you have your feet on the ground, just feel those. And then let's just take a few sweet breaths together. In, breath out, breath, this life force energy can sip the breath in, give us energy, and then with each out breath, just letting go a bit more of what has been today and what's still to come. You're all on mute, so feel free to make some sounds. Ah, yeah, really letting yourself settle. Maybe you feel your sit bones. Welcoming yourself into the present moment. Maybe noticing what's alive in you, in your body, and in your emotional landscape. Yeah, and really welcoming yourself here. And then close with giving yourself something in your body that feels good. Maybe you've noticed something, maybe you want to yawn, maybe you want to stretch. Maybe you want to give yourself a mini massage for a moment, a tap, or give yourself a hug. All with a sense of bringing yourself fully here and welcoming yourself just as you are. You're so welcome here. So, my name is Eva Weaver. I live in Salty near Brighton in my house called Phoenix Nest. I use she, her pronouns. And so, yeah, my journey with the snakes has been going on for a very long time, since my childhood. Professionally, I've been wearing many hats throughout my life. I started out as an art psychotherapist. I worked late 10 years in mental health. And parallel to that, developed my performance artwork. Worked as a performance artist for 10 years, and then became an author. So creativity has always been important. And then at some point, I opened to the field of conscious sexuality and trained as a sexological body worker. And I'm mentioning all that because for me, this is very relevant around snake medicine, because all of those areas we're going to explore in embodying the snake Um, and all these areas, snake has a lot to teach us. And so what I do mainly now and what I call myself is really a snake medicine guide, working with all of those areas. And so, yes, how did I come to the snake? So I believe this journey is actually lifetimes long. I don't know if you believe in any past lives. I do. But in this life, for sure, I was fascinated by snakes since I was a child. I remember being in the zoo and seeing for the first time a big boa, and I could actually not believe that this was real, these amazing patterns and how they moved. Um, and then I remember when I was a bit older, and the first time I actually handled a snake, it was a small snake, a black snake called Alchemy. And she wrapped around my arm, and there was something I felt was transmitted there. I had shivers, I started crying, but in a really beautiful way. I wasn't afraid of the snake and just felt like, wow, this feels so familiar. What is this? I also had dreams of snakes. And then when I was a young woman, I was probably, I don't know, 20, I went to a workshop, um, and the woman who, yeah, did all sorts of work around shamanism and goddess work, she brought this image, and it touched me so deeply. There was something that, yeah, touched me to the core. I don't know if you can see it. Um, and anyone one know this figurine? Anyone seen this before? So this is what's called the snake goddess of Knossos. So Knossos was the Minoan culture in Crete. So this is 3,000 before Christ. And you can see these wild eyes, the bare breasts, and she's holding these snakes, which might be vipers. And what touched me about this is I had not seen anything like that before. You know, it was a real wild image of a female figure, both through the eyes and the breasts. And it took me many years to connect with this again. The image was always with me, but until I started to understand that this wasn't really a goddess as such, but was actually a snake priestess. Like priestesses have existed for millennia who've been working with the snakes. And I understood by also meeting other, mostly women, that there's an unbroken lineage really of people who are and have been working with snakes to bring healing and awakening and the guidance and teachings of snakes. Um, and so eventually I started to research much more about snakes and discovered that really snakes have been, um, yeah, what's the word? It's the opposite of being demonized. So people have been working with the snakes and the symbolism of the serpent really for millennia. There have been snake temples in almost every continent. But I'm already jumping around in terms of what is snake medicine. So first of all, snake medicine isn't working with the venom of the snake, although, you know, within homeopathy and also within other medicines, the venom of the snake has a lot of healing properties. But for me, snake medicine is simply what we can learn from the actual snakes and from the symbolism of, the great serpent. And, as I said, snakes really have been revered in the temples, say, of Egypt, many African countries, in China, in India, the Americas, and Europe. And even today, for instance, in Nigeria, there are still temples dedicated to the pythons. And in India, it's particular the cobra. And so there's many different lineages of people working with the snakes. And a bit later in history were the Greek Asclepions, which really were the first hospitals, we could say. And these were places where people would go to receive healing and guidance. Would go into these snake temples and stay usually overnight in what's called the incubation chambers. So people would dream in the dark in the presence of non-venomous snakes, the Asclepian snakes. And so the healing that came from that came from the dreams people received, but I believe also from this transmission that happened between the people and the snakes. And so for me, snake medicine is also about reclaiming this ancient wisdom of snakes and seeing how can this be accessible for us today and how is it relevant. And I feel it's probably one of the most powerful and most relevant medicines for our time. I'm going to show you a few slides to, just illustrate a bit more. For me, the biggest themes are around healing, embodiment, creativity, sensuality and sexuality, and cyclical living. Open yourself to the teachings of the serpent. That's something that came through as, I feel, like an invitation of the snakes for us to open ourselves at this time. What I haven't shared yet about my journey is then about 7 years ago, I decided I was ready to be a steward of snakes, and I received 2 beautiful royal pythons. And this is my python Mist, who sadly passed 2 years ago, but she's still very much with me. So one of the most powerful themes, of course, that most people connect with and that's immediately apparent with snakes is that of transformation, regeneration, the power of shedding the old. So snakes shed because they grow and also for hygiene, so that nothing festers in their skin. And they shed very regularly. When they're small, they shed very often, and the older they get, they shed less. But it is absolutely vital for their well-being. And so it is for us. So snake medicine for me, first of all, is the medicine of change, is opening ourselves to, really embracing perpetual change and the opportunities within that. And snakes teach us about cyclical living. They really have such strong cycles they live. They don't often eat in the winter, they sleep a lot, and then when they're active, they're really active. So there's a lot of, yeah, we can learn there. Snakes, of course, carry a lot of power. And one of the things we're exploring is how we can embody, how we can learn from the snakes, how they embody the power, for instance, around setting healthy boundaries. So when anything comes too close to their territory, snakes usually rise up, like the cobra here, to eye level. They make themselves bigger, they're upright. Sometimes they vocalize, they hiss, or the rattlesnake rattles. And so in the program, we're diving very deeply into the embodied ways that we can learn from snakes. So this is one example. These are some more images from Nigeria. And then, of course, snake is so connected with sensuality and sexuality. A lot of people have heard of Kundalini energy, the idea that our life force and sexual energy is curled up at the bottom of our spine and can be wakened through breath, through movement, through awareness. And that is absolutely one aspect, but there's so much more to it. There's the sensual nature of snake, and yeah, how we can tap into that through our bodies and also reclaim that, because I feel very much the demonization of sexuality, particularly women's sexuality, and the demonization of snake has been going hand in hand within history. And so now is a time of reclamation. And what I mentioned before, so historically, snakes have always been connected with healing. This is a very ancient cave drawing of what we believe might be a shaman holding a snake. This is a frieze of Asclepius, so the demigod to whom these temples were dedicated, and Hygeia feeding the snake. And these symbols that we still carry, if we look at the Asclepian staff, it's a symbol of the pharmacy as well, and of medicine. So this connection goes right back to the ancient snake temples. And all over the globe, creation myth figured snakes. For example, the Aboriginal story of the creation through the rainbow serpent, and in many, many cultures. And then, of course, we find once we begin to look, we find the serpentine nature everywhere. We find it in nature, and we find it in our own bodies, in our veins, in our intestines, in particular, of course, in our spine, that allows us to be flexible and strong, just like a serpent. But also, if we think of our DNA and the double helix of the snake. So snake really connects us very strongly with the mystery of life as well. Again, it's a double helix, and snake has been very powerful symbol within alchemy. And many shamanic cultures have and are working with snake as a shamanic ally. So do I, as a core shamanic practitioner, and it will be part of embodying the snake for you also to, yeah, meet a snake ally that you can work with throughout the course. The Ouroboros you might know as a symbol that's very well known, the snake that eats its own tail. And for me, this is the sign really of completion and evolution, of endings and new beginnings. And one area I find very fascinating as a queer person, that, you know, snake for me really transcends dualities and polarity. So of course, we probably many of us know that Freud, the psychoanalyst, would always say, if you dream of a snake, it's a phallic symbol. And of course, when we see the boa on the left side rising up, of course, it looks very phallic. But equally, when snake opens the mouth, it looks like a vulva. And in fact, if you pick up a snake and handle it, you will not know. There's no way of telling the sex of the snake. That needs probing and interrogating. And so for me, there's something in this mystery and fluidity around gender as well that for me makes it a queer ally as well, and opens us to, yeah, to the mystery. And in fact, just a little anecdote, I was given two pythons from a snake sanctuary by Snake Sue, and she had worked for 30 years with snakes. And she said, yeah, here are these two male snakes. They've been living together in a bigger vivarium with others. And I was so happy to receive them, and they lived together in my vivarium. And about 5 months later, I was coming home from a weekend away and found one of the snakes missed, sitting on a clutch of 6 eggs. And so she really carried that in her name, you know, the mystery. Yeah, that was very powerful. And so what I'd love to offer you is a little slideshow I made about snake and snake medicine throughout the history. And it's about 8 minutes long, and you could just sit back, lean back, and receive that. And after that, I'll give you a few moments time to do a bit of free writing if you like. So let me see how I can share this. There we go.
Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavate Namah Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavati Namaha Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavati Namaha Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavati Namaha Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavati Namaha Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavati Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavati Namaha Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavati Namaha Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavati Namaha Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavati Namaha.
I invite you, if that speaks to you, just taking maybe just 2 minutes with your journals or your notebook. Just put pen to paper and see what emerges. Maybe there was one image that spoke to you, or a quality, or an energy. I'll call you back. And slowly bring that to a close. You can always come back to that. And so I wanted to share about my beautiful Embodying the Snake 8-week course. So it's an online program. We start on the 29th. This one is for all genders. And it's a particular invitation to explore all these facets of snake medicine I've introduced with and through the body. So each session we will explore a different theme, and I will introduce an embodiment exercise as well. So it could be breath work, movement, inner journeys. I will have 3 beautiful guests. My friend Juliana, who's in the States. She's an embodiment coach, a pleasure activist, and a sexological body worker. She will take a session on sensuality and sexuality. Claire, the carpenter, is in France. Work with Claire as Alchemy of Worlds. And Claire will work with us around snake as shamanic ally. And Bayari Lubigan, she's in the UK, and she will take a session on healing. And these are my 3 guests. It's Claire with my snake sit. Bayari and Juliana. And so a little bit about the curriculum, and also, what could you learn? I've developed this program particularly for folks who are also going through a time of change. And of course, we can say on some level, we're always going through times of change. And yet there are particular moments that are more where we really find ourselves in the thick of it. And so, yeah, you might connect with one theme more strongly than another. But so that was important for me. And then also I called it Embodying the Snake, because for me, the foundation of snake medicine is snakes teach us about being fully here in our bodies. I mean, they are belly to the ground, their whole body touches the ground, unless they're water snakes. Whereas if we think about it, only our feet touch the ground. And so the beauty about working with snakes or handling snakes is they really bring us into the present moment and into our body. And I have a lifelong history of having found being really embodied very difficult, and many of us have, whether that's through trauma or whatever our story is. So snake for me is a beautiful ally to support us to find home and rooting and grounding. So we begin with the theme of shedding and transformation, and then move into aliveness, cyclical living, really tapping into right timing. How can we learn from snakes about really tapping into our life cycles, the natural cycles? And we'll have a week on snake as shamanic ally, on our intuition, how snake connects us with the mystery of life. And then there will be a session on snake as a teacher, a guide around our authentic sensuality and sexuality. And each time I teach this, we go deeper, and there's more layers to it. And that's another reason why I created this program, that it's experiential, that we can learn, but also feel the power of snake in our bodies. And as I mentioned before, one session is around power, boundaries, facing our fears, and how we can tap into the energy of snake there. Week 6 is on creativity, on our embodied life force, cycles of creation, and also again what we can learn from snakes and their life cycles, for our creativity, however our creativity expresses itself. And then there will be a session on healing, how we can tap into the healing power of snake. And then snake as an oracular ally. For me, really, snake bridges the worlds. That's one of the reasons I love this medicine so much, and why I feel this is so the medicine for our times. Because in order to live fully and also bring ourselves to the world, we need to be fully here, embodied, but equally need to be open and have the eagle eye view, and nourish and nurture the connection to spirit. And snakes do that so beautifully. My friend Kwali, who has a snake sanctuary herself, she calls them the master meditators. So yeah, just a few more. What are the benefits? So like I mentioned, if you want to live more cyclically, if you want to really learn about how to set boundaries in an embodied way, want to reconnect more fully with your body, including your sensuality and sexuality. Or maybe you want to really move through a cycle and learn to shed something and move into your new chapter, your new sparkling skin. Snakes really teach us about presence as well, and resting and living with the cycles. Or maybe you feel drawn to snake as a creative ally or a spiritual ally. So all of those could be doorways how you can benefit from snake medicine. And so what's included in this program, the core of it are 8 2-hour-long beautiful sessions with me and 3 special guests. So it's a really rich time we have there, a mixture of teaching. There will always be embodiment, there will always be sharing circles. And also, time in a breakout room, so you get to know each other as well. Every session is recorded, so if you miss one or a few, you can listen back to them and you can download them. You'll have a portal to a platform with lots of resources, and week by week I give you a guide and resource book, which will add up to about 100 pages. A really yummy resource for you to keep. And I share my poetry as well, and we'll stay connected in a WhatsApp group. So there's a little holding there as well. And it's a really beautiful journey with a small group up to 12 people. Yeah, into the wonders and mystery of snake medicine. Still keeping the price quite low for this program because I really want to spread snake medicine. So it's 444 is the full price, and I've had up the early birds for a while, and it ends tomorrow. So I wanted to have another session today, which is 333. And if that's difficult to pay in one go and you need a payment plan, talk to me. I'm very happy to make that work. And we start on the 29th, so sessions on Monday evenings, 6 to 8 UK time. And I'd love to open the space for any shares and questions. Yeah. No, it's a lot of information, a lot of images. Yeah. Anyone got a question?
Yeah, I want to ask you something. The program is like 8 weeks, so you will deliver like a type of lecture or some kind of theoretical. And then do we have to practice at home? Do we have to work on it at home?
No, there's no in between practice as such. So each session would be a mix of, like we did today, coming in already a landing so that we really land in our bodies. There will be a sharing round, and then I'll introduce the theme, and each theme will have an embodiment practice within the session.
Okay. Within
Yeah.
the session.
So,
Okay.
and it's all contained in that. So there's no, of course, you could listen back, or you could do it again, or you could dive deeper, but there's no homework between. So it's really nicely contained. And it's also not necessarily building on top. So if you've missed one session, even if you can't listen back, you come to the next, and they're all facets of snake medicine, which makes this beautiful, image. And does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. You know, you said, for example, when you attend, I want to make a sample, a mindfulness course is something that you need to work as well in terms of practicing, even if you attend to the, theory, but then you need to embody, because you mentioned embodiment. So in terms of embodiment, it's something we need to, not just to study or to do homework, in terms of practice, just to connect with this energy, or to connect with the, the medicine of the snake, and to be able, it's a way for reflecting as well, and to be able to discuss it with you or with your colleagues. Next time we meet, it's not just, say something and then, forget it. So keep practicing,
sure.
and be more, in connection with this energy, because I think it's the snake medicine is an energy that we need to connect or tap into, just to improve our intuition, improve our, the transformation, the cycle, and everything you just explained.
Yeah, for sure. And it has a way to weave itself and snake itself into your everyday life. You might notice more synchronicities where snakes appear. And of course, it's beautiful to play with this awareness, the snake in the body, how are you moving your spine? What are you noticing, or whatever theme we're exploring. So and that's super welcome. We always check in the next week around reflection, around dreams.
And it's just, you have this program starting end of September. Is the only program that you have during the year, or have you scheduled any other, time or cohort when you will be delivering the same program?
So I have two programs. One is this one, Embodying the Snake, And then I have another one, which is called the Serpent Sanctuary, holding those who hold others, which is for women space holders who are going through a deep time of change themselves, to work with the teachings and guidance of snake medicine. So this is a more contained, more intensive program. And that's starts on the 9th of October. That's at lunchtime between 12 and 2 UK time on a Thursday. And I haven't planned the next cohort, might be in spring for embodying the snake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is this one that
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. No, in cases right now I've got kind of other things going on. So, but it's something I'm extremely interested in. I've been feeling the snake medicine or energy with me since first time I saw in a ayahuasca, ceremony came to me, and I know it has been with me. It's my animal spirit. And I came across with your leaflets in Buddha Film Festival. I miss your workshop or whatever you were doing. And I said, oh, I need to meet this woman. I need to meet, I was checking your website, and I know something is calling me. Right now, I'm in career transition. I'm having lots of changes in my life as well. And it has been calling me since, start the Chinese year, the good energy has been calling me. So I've been feeling the snake with me. And it's something I want to go deeper right now. Now, like end of this month won't be possible for me, but in future, if you have the spring one and I feel more kind of alleviating in terms of my workload, definitely I will be taking this opportunity to get into
Sure. Also to mention, I also offer snake medicine guidance sessions. They're just one-off sessions where you can dive into an aspect. We could talk about that too.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
As an interim. Yeah.
I will be so interested. Definitely was a synchronicity. I saw your, postcard in the compost toilets and in the Buddha field. Say, oh gosh, and I miss your workshop because there were lots of things going on. I was part of the crew, and it's so amazing. So, but I know you have a website. I was checking your website. Definitely, I want to do it because it's been calling me for many years. No, now many years.
Beautiful. Thank you.
That's right.
Anyone else having any questions or comments or?
Hi, Eva.
Hi.
Hey, how are you doing? Good. Anyway, so I'm really interested in this. Would love to talk to you about a payment plan. I didn't know about the Serpent Sanctuary. I'm kind of interested in that as well. But I think timing, this will be better. So, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Would be great if you like. I'm closing the call in a moment. If you like, just stay on.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Chat.
Thank you.
I'm gonna